That gets me every time. Getting the camera angle.
Welcome to Jackass. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Strength Students Podcast. I am Mike Standless, Steve Carty.
I have a mic stand. My name is Nick Scopoletti.
Mike Standless sounds like a name.
Mike Standless, FBI.
What's that third voice you're hearing?
Oh, back up. Right there.
John Durrett. It's John Durrett.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
No, too close.
Oh, God.
Right
You're doing too much. Do less.
And we are here with John Durrett.
Hi, everybody.
3 times a guest. I think you're the only one to ever be 3 times a guest.
Good. I'm a reigning champ.
Reigning.
We have no gift for you or no trophy.
Nope. And we're here today talking about proteins.
Yeah.
Okay? What are the most important things to know about proteins, right? We're not going to get too sciencey today. We're not going to get too crazy.
Yeah.
But what are the most basic, important things to know about proteins? There's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of information, a lot of confusing stuff, and a lot of conflicting ideas. So we're here to clean all that up. This episode is all about protein.
I don't think you need to get too sciencey about protein. It's relatively, for as far as what the layman needs to know, it's pretty simple. Protein's primary function in the human diet is the building and repairing of muscle fibers. That's really the main thing we're looking at. And does protein serve some other functions? Yes, but that's really the main function of protein in the body.
Yeah.
Word.
Just and construction of muscle fibers and the
building blocks.
Well, it's not just the idea. I think the big thing people get hung up on too is this idea of building muscle, but also that they're repairing muscle too.
Right.
Which is how we build.
Yeah.
And as far as like what most people need to know about protein, that's kind of the be all end all as far as function, right? And then we can get into this talk about, as you guys were before the show talking about, what are the myths? What are we having trouble with as like a collective understanding with protein? So do you want to just get right into that, or?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is, and you touched on this a little in your intro there. Number one thing that we want to focus on with what about proteins is what they are, the structure of them, kind of, and like their major, literally bullet point, main functions in our body.
Okay. Proteins are composites of what are called branched chain amino acids. So there's these little molecules, to make it real simple here,
right,
that are carried in different proteins have different combinations of those acids. Those get broken down in the body and repurposed for a lot of different functions, primarily the rebuilding and repairing and building up of muscle fibers, right? And you can get protein from plant sources, animal sources, but it's really important to get that idea that they're all a little bit different as far as where you're getting them from and what they're going to do for you. And then this is probably something we could get into today maybe, but there's, in the last 20, 30 years, maybe more than that now, maybe 40, this emerging field of study of what do the individual amino acids do for the body, right? So what's
leucine,
leucine, carnitine, right? A lot of these amino acids you see supplemented as an individual supplement.
Oh yeah.
And a great thing to get into is, are those supplements worth buying? Do they really have any benefit on their own, or do you get enough from your diet?
Right. Do you need BCAAs? Do you need any of that stuff? Because there is, there's amino acids in just protein, like in chicken breast.
Oh yeah.
And steak.
And almost anything you eat.
That's what I'm saying. So
there's trace amounts in almost anything.
They'll sell leucine by itself as I remember back in the day, Muscle Tech used to sell Leukic. And it was just leucine, which is anti-catabolic. And they had this 6-page spread in Flex magazine. And it was just leucine. I was and then I looked up one day, and I think there was 2 or 3 grams of leucine in a chicken breast or something. And don't quote me, but this is a long time ago. But
no quoting here. We're all there's 100 grams of leucine.
What we're saying, but it, and I was oh, so it's just in chicken,
right?
So I don't need to buy this supplement with leucine in it.
And the craziest part of the protein, let's call it the market. So, because these individual amino acids get. So let's just get it out there immediately. If you eat meat, you're getting all the amino acids you need.
Right, exactly. That's an important thing to know. Like, there's those 9 essential amino acids that make up proteins, right?
Right.
Literally the only things that have all of those included in them at one time.
Animal protein.
Animal products.
Right.
That's
so
literally
it's
it.
not, and, so if you're a vegetarian, it doesn't have to be meat, right? Yogurt has it, eggs, cottage cheese, right? Any sort of animal-based protein is going to carry that
right.
in it. So that's, you can be a vegetarian and absolutely get all the protein you need. And with a lot of, and here's where we get into sort of like, do we supplement amino acids or not? You can technically be a vegan and still get the right protein sources, but that's when we have to look into, that's really, in my opinion, the only group that needs to look into supplementing amino acids. Okay. Because if you're not eating any animal protein sources at all, unless you're really good with what you're doing, you're probably missing out on some amino acids that your body needs.
Yeah, those amino acids there aren't as many in some of those products. Like a lot of people, I think one of the bigger misconceptions is things like, like if you have beans or a bean burger or something like that, right? Like, oh, that's beans, there's protein in it. It's like, yes, there's protein in it, but they're incomplete versus complete protein.
And I saw this article the other day that was just super misleading. And it was like, well, you can get enough protein to meet your daily allotment by eating just broccoli. And you need an insane amount of broccoli.
No one wants that much broccoli.
You could do it, but you need a lot of broccoli to get there, and you'd still be missing out on a lot of you. So then there's this idea of protein is just like, well, am I getting enough grams of protein? Like you might be satisfying that number, but am I getting the right amino acid build
profile,
to really make my body healthy?
Right.
And so that's where my job is not to decide that. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. My certification allows me to, if someone comes in and says like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight, I can look at their diet and say like, well, maybe stop eating cake, right? But I'm not gonna
genius, brilliant.
No, I can give some functional intelligence suggestions, especially for athletes. Hey, coach, I find that in the second leg of this marathon I'm running, I'm bottoming out. What can I do, right? Well, maybe bring some honey with you. That's my avenue. But I would never tell someone like, oh, you should go buy leucine or carnitine or taurine or whatever,
I'm
right?
so skeptical. I can never.
Well, but here's the thing, right? Like not only are people listening to trainers about that, which is a horrible idea. Right. That's why nutritionists and dietitians have a field.
Yeah,
right? But on top of that, people are self-diagnosing. They're reading these articles that are like, oh, this amino acid can help with like your body's, if your body, I had this guy I was working with a couple months ago on meal planning stuff, and great dude, really great attitude, but he was like, oh, I need to supplement casein protein because my muscles are wasting. And I said like, I don't know, dude, you're eating like 2,800 calories a day. Yeah. You're probably not experiencing any significant wasting.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a nutritionist, but maybe you should go talk to one before you start. And that's the thing, right? Supplements should, in my opinion, generally be prescribed by a nutritionist or a dietitian.
Yeah.
Right. And you see people, and so let's talk about like whey protein as like a shake thing, right? Like if you're eating a balanced diet, whey protein probably doesn't have a good place for you.
Right.
In the structure of things, right? Unless you're like criminally deficient. But then, so where do all these myths come from, right? These ideas of, well, I need to have my 3 shakes a day and my casein shake before I go to bed. And I need to wake up at 2 a.m. to get an extra casein shake because I'm going to waste away.
Yeah, leave the protein shake on top of the toilet so when you pee or in the middle of the night, you could drink that and then go back to bed.
Right, and so where a lot of that comes from is, and this is great, but the sport of bodybuilding. Yeah. Because that's been such a big, high-profile, well-researched field. But Susie every day, right? Your member who comes in to get personal training or in our case group training. Yeah. Susie probably doesn't need to be choking down 6 protein shakes a day. No. Especially not if we're like, Susie, what are your goals? And she's like, I want to live to be 80 and play with my grandkids. Like, all right, well, you don't need to be worrying about like hypertrophy and getting like as huge as possible, right? And a lot of the protein knowledge we have comes from a a dietary plan structured towards this like intense mass building.
Yes.
And I was just talking with Nick before we started about this idea of how much is too much. Can you have too much protein, right? And the truth is, like, yeah, you can. And I hear that go back and forth all the time. You hear these, like, and no offense to these guys, but it's usually these huge power lifters who are like, or, bodybuilders who are like, well, I'm 280 pounds and I have no problem putting away a 12-ounce steak. And it's like, yeah, dude, but that's a specialized area.
Yeah.
For most of your listeners, for most people who are looking to just be better, healthier people, that's going to be entirely too much food.
Yeah.
And just because you go to, the Texas Steakhouse and they have a 14-ounce steak, doesn't mean that's what you should be eating as a serving size.
Right.
So that's I think we have become not just a high food society, like a lot of food, but especially that protein area. We've seen a big up hike.
So let me ask you this then, and that kind of transitions to what I wanted to ask your opinion on next is
Sure.
Like amount of protein, right? It's everywhere. There's so many varying like formulas and half your body weight, double your body weight, like eat the weight of your dog in protein every day. It's like all these different rules and things like that. Is there, kind of what you were saying before, is there a set, like this is how it should be, like a formulaic way of like going about it? Or are there different factors? I mean, is there too much? Is there not enough? Like, what's the deal with like the amount of protein you should be eating?
There's a formula called the French Cartesian, right? And you take your zodiac sign and multiply it by the day you were born and divide by your body weight. No.
I was like, oh, is this real? Is this really going
Finally,
on?
the secret.
It's like, yes, he's talking about it. Tell the people.
A good place to start for a lot of folks.
Pokeball?
Pokemon Go. Our sponsors at Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
A good place to start is this idea of the gram per pound of body weight. Mm-hmm. But for most folks, that's going to be too much. And I think we were talking about this earlier. The place we really want to get into is it's really a gram of protein per pound of lean mass.
Lean
right?
mass, which is like I'm 225, but lean mass is like 175 to 180.
I'm probably like 100 pounds lean mass, I think.
No, you're not.
Well, a simple way for folks at home to figure that out.
Right.
If you find out your body fat percentage.
Yeah.
Right. And then you would just literally find out 1 gram per pound of body weight, and then just take out the percentage that's of body fat.
True.
Right. So
or just take your body weight, times it by the body fat percentage.
You're adding extra math in here, bro.
Minus the body fat percentage.
Oh no, I can't. Most of us are bad at math. I can do barbell math, and that's it.
Same.
Like, what's on that barbell? Like 245.
Yeah.
What's 10 times 15?
45 pounds.
Who's lifting it?
No, but that's like it's a good point, dude. Because like you look at a guy like you, 205 pounds.
Yeah.
Jacked, right?
Thank you.
How much protein do you eat per day? And I know you keep most of your meals vegetarian, correct?
Yeah.
Before you lift, because you feel a little foggy headed if you eat too much protein.
Yeah, that was a friend of mine suggested that to me years ago. It was just like, hey man, like, because I was having this thing where I would just like bonk out in workouts, and he was like, hey, well, try experimenting with this or that, and just sort of randomly, he and I were, it was just like two dudes like playing around with nutrition and stuff, and we didn't get this anywhere. He just said like, what would happen is like what we noticed was whenever we went out to get lunch, we tried to train after lunch.
Yeah.
If I had like especially red meat, I was a slug.
You're done.
I was just destroyed. And so that was the one thing we picked up on, and so I took that to the next level and was like, well, what if I up until the point I've finished training, what if I stay vegetarian and see how that works out? And it's been great. I've been doing that for years now, like 2 or 3 years. Helps me be a little bit leaner. I mean, I still eat like breakfast for me usually is like yogurt and eggs. Mm-hmm. So I'm still getting animal protein in.
Right.
But for whatever reason, my body just processes that easier, and I feel less lethargic in workouts. Gotcha. But I mean, like total protein a day for me. It's sort of I like anyone else. I go through like bulking and cutting phases and back and forth. Not anyone else, but a lot of folks do that. When I'm trying to get big, I eat about a gram of protein per pound of body weight, not lean mass.
Right.
And right now, I recently have stopped, I don't know, permanently or temporarily, but I'm not trying to be like Mr. Competitive CrossFit anymore. Yeah. Because you guys know this, but the audience might not. You know, I work regionals. I work at the games.
The judge.
For CrossFit. Yeah, I judge. And
Judge Durrett.
well, no, but
I just picture you with like spurs on your cowboy boots and like a cowboy hat coming in like, this is my hair saloon.
It's my barbell.
But I was, you know, I've judged Katrin and Matt, you know, to these really fit human beings.
Right.
And
Freaks, yeah.
and you get this idea where you're like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You
right?
watch them work out, you're like, no.
When you see it up close, it's
Yeah.
so different. When you watch it on TV or from the stands, you're like,
This could be me one day.
well, yeah, no, you lie to yourself in a certain. Not that people listening to this can't do that. If that's your dream, go for it.
Hell yeah.
But being next to them, you really understand how much they fatigue, or rather, how little, I guess.
Yeah.
And there was a workout because I helped. You guys know Siobhan's been a guest,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Two-timer.
so I'm beating her right now with a 3.
Yes.
So that's the important. I've beaten her somewhere. That's good. Yeah. But Siobhan needed a training partner when she did regionals individually, and so I was the test dummy. I did all the regionals workouts first, and then she would be like, "What did you learn? What did you find out?" And I was like, "Everything hurts. I'm dying." But I did all those workouts, and then I watched up very, very up close. I judged Katrin through the chipper, which had buried me. Like, I finished that chipper, but it was like skin in my teeth, like barely survived, like barely under the time cap. And she just was unfazed. She was like, I watched her do I think it was like 50 burpee box jump overs, and she wasn't breathing heavy. And I was like a slobbering, drooling mess. You know? So anyway,
But the point being,
yeah.
activity level in protein or competitive level in protein.
But I don't think so. Here's my thing too. So my goal became to be leaner and just be healthier for my life. So I cut down my intake significantly, and now I probably eat between 140 to 160. I would estimate grams of. I don't weigh and measure too much grams of protein a day, and I've gotten a lot leaner. My strength numbers have all stayed the same. Lost a lot of weight. Pull-ups are a hell of a lot easier now. And it's just I was talking to Nick about this. I used to be really fat, as we've covered in past episodes. So when I lost all my weight and I got really consumed with aesthetics, looking
Classic.
good. Right.
Yeah.
And so my big fear was that I would cut out protein and become this rail, like Christian Bale and the Mechanic, just skinny, bulimic looking dude. And so I cut the protein out very, very slowly, bit by bit. And that's what you learn, is that you don't need as much as you think. I would say if you gathered together 20 gym goers, especially men, I would say 18 of them probably overconsume protein.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Easily, just based on who I've worked with in the past and who I've talked to.
So you feel as though you can overconsume protein.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
From a calorie standpoint or from a macronutrient standpoint, meaning
yes to both.
Okay.
Your body can only utilize so much protein. It literally, and what does it do with stuff it can't utilize? It becomes fat, like any other overconsumed calorie. And that's a big myth. People are like, oh, well, my body can use as much protein as I eat. That's impossible. Once it's done repairing and rebuilding and reconstructing, the protein doesn't all right, guys, you guys are on the bench for next time.
Yeah, right.
No, it becomes fat. And then it gets stored that way.
Like many things.
Like many things.
All right, we are going to take a quick commercial break. The one commercial that we have that plays every episode. Quick commercial break. We come back. We're going to talk about some more shocking, surprising facts about protein. So don't go anywhere.
Government.
We'll be back. Want more of the Strength Students podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her.
I try not to laugh too.
Nothing comes out of my hand.
We're like fucking kids. We're like, no, he tried not to laugh into the mic. That's
okay.
I did the same
Silence.
thing. I saw him about to laugh, and I was like,
All right, welcome back to Scooby-Doo Live. We're here with John Durrett, talking about some surprising things you may or may not know about protein.
Burn
some
victims.
Important things. Literally.
That's what we're going to next.
Literally. Before we do that, real quick, let's touch on something we didn't really touch on before in the first segment there. BCAAs. Mm-hmm. What's the deal?
So I'm gonna make a lot of folks angry with this one, but I really think that like BCAA supplements are people's excuse to have like Kool-Aid while they work out. You know,
when you should just drink actual Kool-Aid.
Well, there's been limited. So the weird thing is there's this market that says that BCAAs will improve your workout when like you're tired.
Hold on, real quick. What are real quick sentence or two?
Yeah.
What are BCAAs?
So when protein gets broken down, it gets broken down to branch chain amino acids, right? Those are BCAAs. So in a supplement form, they're just pre-broken down proteins. So the idea is it can get into your system really fast and help with muscle recovery. And on paper, it's really great, but most folks don't need them. If you're eating a balanced, good diet, you really don't need any extra supplementation, period.
Right. Yeah.
But especially not BCAAs. And what I think happens with a lot of folks is they taste really good. You know, I mean, without flavoring, they're disgusting. But
they're terrible.
Right. So, so a lot of companies throw in just tons of like sucralose and stuff like that to make them taste really good.
And kind of simply put, though, it's BCAAs are like what proteins are made of, essentially.
Right. It's supposed to be a recovery aid.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is it gets marketed a lot as something that will help you last longer in a workout. And there's no carbs in it. There's nothing to give you energy. Right. We don't really garner energy from protein. We can get energy from fat, which protein will eventually become. We can get energy from carbs, but we can't get energy from protein on its own, right? Protein can make you feel a little more satiated. It can sort of calm down that center of the brain. That's the animal center. Like, oh, I need food.
Right.
But it's not necessarily going to give you any energy. There was a thing for a while where people were saying that amino acids are really good if you're in a workout and you're like, it's going to be a 2 to 3 hour workout and you're an hour and a half in, you know, you've got another hour and a half ahead of you.
Yeah.
But for most athletes, like take a break, eat a snack, and you'll do better in that workout.
Right.
You know, and so there's these people, these weekend warriors who are like, I don't have time for snacks. Like, well, maybe your volume's too heavy, one.
Yeah.
Right? Which you guys talked about in one episode. Or two, like, I mean, all right, well then you can try the amino acid, but put some carbs in there or something to give you some energy.
Right.
Generally speaking, they're just fluff. They're not, and it's the supplement industry trying to get folks to buy products.
Yeah, when I look back and think of all the magazines I read and all the supplements I bought and everything like that, like when I was a teenager, literally like, this is a nutrition plan, and it was like 4 times a day you're taking these supplements, and then there's like 3 to 4 meals. And
liquid diet.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I gotta take all this stuff. This is a lot of money. Like, I'm broke.
Right,
like,
and that's the industry.
Right, and then later in life, I was like, oh, makes sense now.
Well, and to your point, like, I agree with you as far as BCAAs. Like, I'm always skeptical of supplements, as people know, just because not to say that BCAAs aren't, I'm not saying, oh no, they're not helpful. Of course they are.
Yeah.
But as a supplement, like, is it helping you? What is in that supplement?
Do you
Should it be
need
supplemented?
Do you need it? Right.
Yeah.
That's always the question. And for certain, there are probably populations out there that need them.
Yeah.
But again, go to a nutritionist, go to a dietitian, see what they say, right? And most of them who are worth their salt will tell you, like, well, why do you don't need this? You just had
make sure
5 ounces of chicken.
Make sure they're not heavily invested
Right.
in a supplement company either.
Yeah. But in like, kind of to that fact, and I'm going to rattle off a little fact here from our friends at Precision Nutrition. You know, as far as like, dude, you should have like a your supplement, your tub of BCAAs. I mean, if you're looking at like the BCAA content of foods, right? According to Precision Nutrition, whey protein has 26% like
BCAA
of the grams
content,
of BCAA
yes.
content, and then milk protein is after that at 21%. So it's like, all right, so dairy products then, like, do you need these supplements? Like, do you need a tub of BCAAs, or should you just be eating these foods that have more BCAAs? Just eat a better diet. Right, exactly.
99% of folks don't need supplements.
Right.
It's a very small population. I mean, well, especially nutrition supplements.
Word.
Right. If we're talking about some stuff that's like less nutrition-y, a little more steroids. But you know,
we're a fan of those here.
we don't mind.
No, but so for most folks, especially people who are just trying to get in the gym, get a good workout, they're just being sort of robbed.
Word.
Yeah.
Want to talk about the burn victims?
Yeah,
Yes.
so we got about 10 minutes till we lose you here.
Yeah.
Got about 8 minutes even, but
Yeah.
so we talked about an interesting study you went over, brought up a lot of interesting points about protein. So why don't you introduce that and talk about that?
I was trying to find the study last night because I really wanted to talk about it with you guys, and I couldn't find it. I promise it's a real study. It was probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was actually. Do you guys know Alex Viada at all?
No.
Dude, look him up. Maybe you get him on
what's
the
his
podcast.
friend time?
He's probably ridiculous. No, so he's this dude who like is just this freak of nature.
Okay.
He's like a marathon runner / powerlifter.
Oh yes,
He's just
I think
like
I know.
Oh, I have heard of this dude.
Like a genetic freak.
Yeah, okay.
He runs a company, and I can't human performance training or total performance training out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right.
Most recently I checked, they were out of Raleigh, and he's just an
Complete
animal.
human performance.
There we go. Thank you. But
He's
he
ripping a
actually he
computer.
blogged about this study a couple years ago,
Right.
And it was actually the first thing that turned me down the path of maybe I don't need so much protein. There was this study where they had these folks who were burn victims with 3rd-degree burns and had actually lost muscle mass off their bodies, like literally it had been melted away.
Yeah,
by fire.
not like yo, I haven't worked out in a couple months. Like yo, it's gone.
Yeah, right. And so the nutritionists trying to and nutritionists get a bad rap these days, man. You know, but the nutritionists were building a meal program for these people to literally rebuild their bodies, which had been destroyed by fire. Right? So like, if you watch, like, no Game of Thrones spoilers, but you get what I'm saying if you watch it.
Okay.
Right? So these people were all these just horrible burn victims, and they were eating less than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I think it was
Like 0.8?
I think it was 0.8, but it was less. And so at first, you read that as someone who's in this industry, you're like, what? They definitely need more than that. Like, everyone needs more than that. But, surprise, they all regained muscle mass.
Wow.
They began to heal and recover. So if someone who's literally destroyed is eating enough protein to rebuild and restore and recover,
Yeah.
there's no way that you're hitting like 3x10 on the leg press and you need to have like a shake on you
Yeah.
at that moment to guzzle down because your window's closing, right? Like that's a huge propagated myth that we've seen over the years, and especially bodybuilding.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've kind of, and the research is coming out more and more, and this information is becoming more popular, I guess, is, you know, the more important thing, like, post, like, right after workout is, like, replenishing sugar and
Everything.
carb intake.
Have a
you know
meal.
what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
Eat a meal, right?
Right.
Or like something that's actually
Yeah.
like a functional snack.
I've always wanted to. Every time after I've lifted, I just wanted to eat. I don't want anything liquid. Just
Right.
give me food.
Your body, it's your
Forgot
body
that.
needs. Your body needs food.
Right.
Yeah, that's important shit. All right, John, we're going to let you go.
Gotta
Gotta
go.
go coach class. Thank you, dude,
Do
for
my
joining
job.
us.
Hey, anytime, guys.
3rd episode with John Durrett. Make sure you check us out on all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, at Strength Students Podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. We'll see you next episode. Love you.
Thanks, Dad.